Howdy people, how we doing? Looks like you guys caught me halfway through a Sega conversion here in the shop. And it kind of reminded me of a common question that I get all the time. And that is, hey, you know, Eric, what should I come up with if I want to get into gunsmithing? What kind of tools do I need? How should my shop be set up? You know, I get all these different questions about it. So in this video, I'm going to try my best. Right now my shop's slightly cluttered because I'm actually using it. But I'm going to show you around in the shop here and show you some of the basic tools that you'll most likely want to come across. And I'll try to limit it to pretty much like the top 10 that I think you need to have. And hopefully you glean some info from this video if you're thinking about getting into gunsmithing. Even if you don't want to do gunsmithing professionally, if you want to just work on your own guns. The tools I'm going to show you have an infinite amount of uses around the shop, around the house. Doesn't necessarily have to be for gunsmithing. A gunsmith's most important tool on this whole bench is this vise. I cannot stress that enough. This particular vise, the head rotates this way, which is what you want. You want it to rotate around on this axis, this circular axis. You want it to rotate. And of course, you want the ability, as with most vices, you can loosen these and rotate on this axis. So you have this axis of rotation and this axis of rotation. Of course, for those of you that don't know, you tighten this and the jaws hold your workpiece securely in place. For most gunsmithing work, a small 14-ounce ball and peen hammer will be just fine. 99.9% of all the gunsmithing work you're going to do is you're going to use this hammer. If you got to beat on stuff that you don't want to mar up, a 14-ounce dead blow rubber mallet is perfect. That's the only two hammers you need to concern yourself with for most work. This is Brownells Magna tip Superset. This is a great entry-level screwdriver set. You get 2 drivers and of course a ton of different blades. With gunsmithing work, you want the blade of the driver to fill the head of the screw up completely, to take up all the space. Most common household screwdrivers are not well suited for gun work. This is a small belt sander that I bought from Grizzly Industrial. It's paid for itself, I don't know how many times over now. It's a 30-inch belt that's 1 inch wide on this end. The nice thing about this belt sander is that you can slip stuff behind it. So like doing Sega conversions and stuff like that, it's really handy to be able to get behind trigger guards and all that kind of stuff. You also have a sanding wheel on the side that's very handy for some operations like fitting recoil pads and stuff like that. Overall, I would say a belt sander is going to be a more worthwhile investment than a bench grinder. I do have a bench grinder, but I find that this belt sander gets a ton more use. You can sharpen knives with it, you can make tools, you can sharpen tools, you can fit. Like if you go to the pawn shop and stuff and you buy a bunch of cheap flathead screwdrivers, what you can do is you can take those flathead screwdrivers, you can custom fit them to whatever screw slot you happen to be having a hard time finding a tip for. Very indispensable tool. In terms of other random hand tools, definitely a good little battery powered drill. This is a little cheap, 18 volt Ryobi that I've had a while and it works fine. Keep the batteries charged up. You'll have infinite amount of uses for a small electric drill that's portable and handheld. Now I do have a corded electric drill. This is just a 3/8 inch drill motor. Sometimes it's handy for certain things. And this thing, it's just a cheapo skill. I mean, literally anything that'll work reliably and that'll hold your drill bits in place, concentric, is really all you need. For gunsmithing work, I recommend a good set of calipers. Whether dial or digital, just make sure it's a good, reputable brand. I've got an older set of Mitutoyos here that I've been using for many years now, and they've never failed me. You've probably seen these in a lot of my reloading videos. These digital calipers see double duty both in the reloading aspect and for gunsmithing work. I have quite a few cleaning products, and I could probably make a whole video just on different cleaning products, but for the purposes of this video, These are the products I use the most often. The nano coil I use either as a cutting oil, or if I got a really stuck screw I need to get loose or something, I'll squirt some of that stuff on there and let it creep in, and it'll really help bust apart those stubborn screws and stuff like that. You can use the coil in conjunction with a little bit of heat, and it will really help some of those parts move. If you're having a hard time getting a screw undone or a pin to move, this stuff works wonders. For everyday cleaning, the Hoppies number 9 is definitely a product that's a go-to solvent for me. Soak a patch down and coat your bore with this and let it sit about 30 minutes while you're working on something else. And this is great at removing copper and powder fouling out of your rifle. Okay. Another product I use a lot is the Birchwood Casey number 77 Muzzle Magic Cleaner. This is for cleaning after black powder rifles, mill syrups. This will also help neutralize the corrosive priming compound used in surplus ammunition. It's a must if you're a surplus shooter. Or you can use a little hot water and Windex, that works fine too. Of course, this is my go-to lubricant and protectant is Ballistol. It emulsifies well in water, so you can mix it down with water for cleaning, scrubbing stuff down. It protects generally anything around the shop. When I'm done with my punches and other random tools, I'll give them a coat of Ballistol, and it helps keep stuff from rusting. The smell is quite putrid, but it works good, so who cares? I've got a drawer in my toolbox that I just keep all my little brushes and random horse crap in. I've gotten to the point where I know which ones I use so much, I just kind of keep them in a little random pile. I mean, you may choose to organize your toolbox better than this, which I'm sure most of you will, but for my purposes, this drawer is pretty much dedicated just to little rod sections and brushes and little random stuff like that. It just helps to have a place to kind of localize all this sort of stuff. You know, I got a few little vials of paint back there I use for just model paint that I use for touching up sights and all that kind of stuff. You know, real simple. Now people, I hope you'll pardon the mess because I've been working. But you see the general layout of my shop. I've got pegboard on the back wall there and a large workbench with shelves on the bottom. I've got this one island that comes out right here with my vise on it. I chose that layout because I wanted to be able to get around the vise easy on all sides, to have just pretty much free access to the vise wherever I want to get to it. Of course, my toolboxes over there with all my little random crap in them. This is a work in progress, and I'll update it as I go. You know, I'll make more videos if you guys like seeing this types of stuff. Black spray paint, a gunsmith's best friend. So you see I used all the combination of tools I showed you to demill that Sega trigger guard to get it ready to install. It's painted up, it's ready. That's just one example. With a good sharp drill bit, even using a hand drill, you can drill precise holes on simple objects like this. Here's another wonderful example of how the reinforced cutoff wheel for the Dremel tool comes in really handy in gunsmithing work. generally there, I tried to just give you the quick and dirty of, some of the most common things that you're going to have laying around in a gun shop or a home gun working shop. And really, that's about it. You'd be surprised just how many operations a gunsmith will do using only a vise, a hammer, and a few punches. Especially from the standpoint of being sufficient, self-sufficient, and working on your own stuff. You really can't go wrong with any of the tools that I showed you. In terms of an initial investment, you're probably looking at around, if you buy everything new, you're going to be looking at a good $500 or $600 worth of stuff. Now, if you go secondhand and you're savvy enough to go check out the pawn shops, trade shops, whatever, you can really find some good deals if you don't mind getting a product that's secondhand. There's nothing wrong with someone being self-sufficient, working on your own guns, doing your own basic repairs. I know a lot of the guys that watch my YouTube channel, you guys are all self-sufficient. A lot of you are, in a lot of cases, probably better a gunsmith than I am. But, it's good to be self-sufficient. It's good to have the willpower and the drive to want to work on your own stuff. I think you'll find that if you get into doing it, it'll be an addicting hobby that can be rewarding financially and from the standpoint of giving you a good sense of personal fulfillment. When a project comes together like you want it, it really is a good feeling, and I just can't say enough about that. I mean, that's pretty much what drives me as a person. I love guns, and I love the firearms industry. I love working on guns, and for me to think that I can work in an industry where I do that on a daily basis, and I get to talk about guns and work around guns all day, I really do feel like I'm living the dream. And you can definitely do that yourself. You just have to, you got to build your brand. You got to, build yourself up as a gunsmith. You got to give the people around you a reputation that you're, a good gunsmith. And that comes with time. It takes a little effort. And again, I'm definitely not saying that I'm definitely not saying that I'm the best gunsmith or anything like that. I mean, I'm far from it. But with a little effort and some basic tooling and a little bit of work, you can definitely be well on your way to maintaining your own guns, doing minor repairs, and possibly making a little money in the process. Well, good luck.